Averagely, the NFF appoints coaches 6 months, every 6 months. They are very close to a London club. Let me not just mention him. Every
Chelsea,
six.
let me help you.
Hi guys, my name is Oluwadamilola, your host for this week's episode of the AO Show, and with me is
Jacob Stunga.
together we'll be looking at Eric Chelle's contract situation with the Supereagles. Enjoy. Appointed in January last year, and after a series of changing and chopping in the Supereagles setup, we have seen how Chelle kind of transformed the Supereagles, because for some people, they are still not convinced yet. But one thing is very, very certain. The kind of football the Supereagles play is up top, and then is different. We have different scenarios, we have different patterns, and I can justify him if I am called to do that, because we saw that in the last AFCON, the just concluded one. What is your take generally? Now, we are not looking at if he needs to stay or if he needs to go. Has he really transformed Supereagles? Talking of Eric Chelle. Just 1 year.
Have you noticed any form of transformation?
That's why I said that if you ask me, then I can defend him. Because for a coach that came in just barely 1 year, and he has done so much, going unbeaten to the third place, but the penalty shooter that we lost against Morocco, and the way these boys have been able to, come together has been amazing.
Might just be a bit too much for you to use the word transformation. I don't think he has actually transformed the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I could argue that they had a good tournament, not great one. They had a good tournament because basically you would expect Nigeria to get to the semi-finals of the AFCON. They've always been there. It's just like a bet right. So I wouldn't say they had a great tournament per se, and they cannot say that Eric Chelle has fully transformed the Super Eagles. I just feel that he had a good tournament and it should be something to build up on.
Okay, I want us to look at, because for you said he has not really transformed. I want to read this out to you so that you hear. Nigeria have scored 35 goals while conceding just 13, turning us into an attacking force, and we're one of the highest scoring nations in the AFCON.
We didn't see the attacking force until the AFCON. So you cannot necessarily say he has turned us into an attacking force. Where it matters most, we faltered. We missed out on the World Cup.
Was that his fault?
Part of his fault, because when he came in, he drew 2 consecutive matches, if I'm not wrong. So we cannot say he has transformed or he has turned us into an attacking force, because when we needed him to come through for us during the World Cup qualifiers, the goals did not come, the goals were not coming. We began to have problems the moment Osimhen got injured, and there was no answers to the attacking department again. So he came into the Nations Cup. He tried to do better than he did in the qualifiers, and I think it's enough for the NFF to build on this and probably extend this contract. But saying that it transforms Super Eagles is a long way off.
Are you saying the word transformation is too huge for what he has done?
Yeah, too much for what we have seen of Eric Chelle. His in-game management is still very questionable. Given that once he puts out his 11 on the pitch, he mostly struggles to manage the game. He really does not make timely substitutions. I think he dwells mostly on the starting lineup. So I think these are areas that he needs to improve on. So I wouldn't really agree with you that he has transformed the Super Eagles.
Okay, averagely, the NFF appoints coaches 6 months, every 6 months. They are very close to a London club. Let me not just mention it.
Let me help you.
Every 6 months. And for NFF to have a manager in the space of 1 year, he has been there for 1 year. Don't
We
you
had
think
Casemiro for about 5 years.
that I'm talking of in recent times now? It's basically 6 months from Finidi George.
Chelle is about the second permanent coach we're having after Peter.
Exactly. And even when he was appointed, I think a year ago in January, he's not
You don't have
even.
to put into account the interim coaches we had.
I'm just saying that the average has always been 6 months. And now for a coach that seems to have an identity of what he wants his teams to do, and also building a kind of rhythm within these players, don't you think it's finally time for stability and the need for the Super Eagles to actually back him up
May I ask you what Eric Chelle's identity is?
in terms of football pattern or his management?
Okay.
Okay, I just feel like he likes a free-flowing football.
Um,
Yes. And for so far, some of the games that I've seen, especially closely in this AFCON, I noticed that he has been able to kind of find a dynamic for himself in that midfield.
I think we won all.
And we saw it evidently in how Iwobi performed. And also, this guy coming in as a minister, that is Onyeka of Bedford.
I'm not trying to take anything away from what Eric Chelle did with Super Eagles at the AFCON, but then we won all the games we expected to win. The most important game of the tournament, we lost to Morocco. We barely did anything to threaten in that game. And it was a disappointing loss because Morocco were not spectacular. As you know, as I've always said, they weren't spectacular at the AFCON. They got to where they got to because of the help from the organizers and the referees, so to say. But then I still would give Eric Chelle the benefit of that. The NFF should allow him build on this thing. That's what he can give to the Super Eagles in the next 1 or 2 years.
Okay, so I need to read this out. This is from a colleague, a senior colleague via a WhatsApp group. He said, NFF president says there are no plans to extend Eric Chelle's Super Eagles contract. If you ask me, Eric Chelle has done very well lifting the Super Eagles up and turning them into a force, a fighting force. However, an actor quits the stage when the ovation is loudest. So I think it is time for him to move on. I do not believe Chelle can take Nigeria to the dizzy height we want to see the Super Eagles operate out. For that, we need someone like Marcelo Bielsa of Uruguay, José Mourinho, who is currently in the Portuguese league, Pep Guardiola of Manchester City, who is kind of going to be on his way out at the end of the season, or Hervé Renard, the former Saudi Arabia national team coach. So a parting of ways is inevitable. What do you think?
I do not completely agree with this sentiment. Firstly, is because it was given a target going into the AFCON.
Yeah.
If the NFF said
Which was
get to the final, at least because the last time we lost out in the finals, then if you will not surpass that achievement, you should at least equal it, right? He didn't get to the finals. He failed in the semi-finals. We came third. It is nothing to celebrate. It is nothing to start jumping about because Nigeria have always been there. They won the third place playoff over 9 times. And we've been in
we hold the records of the most bronze.
we've been in the finals about 8 to 9 times but as well. So I think if the NFF are taking the decision to dismiss Eric Chelle,
Yep.
it is just within their rights. But I feel that they should have a second consideration, given that he has shown that he has something inside of him. He has shown that if given the time, he can actually turn this Super Eagles team into a force to reckon with. So I feel that they will not be doing too much if they allow him continue at the end, because I cannot trust the NFF to bring a better tactician if they eventually sack Eric Chelle. So that's why I have problem with the NFF. If they want to sack this man, who are you bringing on board? Who is the person that are bringing to replace Eric Chelle? Is it somebody at his level, or is it somebody lower than the level of Eric Chelle? So that's why I have problem with the Super Eagles. According to what you read out, if the NFF eventually end up sacking Eric Chelle, I think it will still be within their rights to sack him.
I think I'll mention 2 things before we move to the next. There's a post I saw on Twitter, and the guy commented that Nigerians are lusting over Eric Chelle. For a team that finished second in the last AFCON, we should be open to reality.
That's exactly what I just said. We finished second in the last AFCON, and we should the least we could have done in this tournament is to repeat that feat if we were not going to better it. Losing out to an average Morocco side in the semi-final is nothing to write home about. I really don't understand what the euphoria is about in the media. I see people celebrating the third place finish. I really do not buy into that, because I feel that the Super Eagles are a level above that level. The Super Eagles should be operating above that present level. They have placed third about 9 times. So we have just won 3 AFCON titles. They have 7. Cameroon have 5. So Senegal already have 2. You never can tell them.
Who in the space of 3 years?
You understand? So they might just go on and defend the next title and catch up with Nigeria on the rating for most AFCON titles won. So I feel that if the NFF really want to discontinue with Eric Chelle, they have to assure us that they are bringing somebody that is tactically.
Yeah, and which means that it can be also expensive.
Yes, we have the money. Money should not be.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting now, because during the pressers for one of the game against Morocco, he was questioned about his position as the head coach of Nigeria, if there will be a possible continuity. And this is what he said. He said, I don't know anything. I'm the coach of Nigeria, and maybe in a few days, my president, that is Gusau, the president of the NFF, will tell me it is finished for you, or maybe I have to continue. I am a fan of the Super Eagles team during many years. So this job is very important to me, but I'm not the boss. I just try to do my job. For the fact that we have an AFCON coming 2027 and 2028, if NFF will demand a change, then it has to be now.
Eric Chelle himself knows that he knows that there was a target. He was appointed on the back of a disappointing qualifying series. He was brought in to steady the ship, but he wasn't able to do that. But then
But that's why we see. I don't know. I have a kind of preference for this statement. You have done something woeful, and then you are expecting me as an expert to come and make the situation right, and it doesn't. I can't seem to do it because of how bad you have spoiled it.
yes,
The failure of that which happens after doesn't have to be on me.
he knew about the chaotic situation of the NFF and the Super Eagles before he took the job. It was read out to him, and he decided to take it. He knew that he was gonna fix it. He told them that he would do his very best to fix it, and they gave him a target, which he agreed to. But coming to the AFCON, he failed to meet the target. So if they eventually end up sacking him, it shouldn't be a harsh decision on their part. But my question now is, if you sack Eric Chelle, who are you bringing on board to replace him?
Yeah, that is the question, and that is where the names of Hervé Renard, José Mourinho, there was.
We cannot afford José Mourinho.
Those are the things. I just.
Hervé Renard, I can understand because he knows African football. He's been here before. They have one. So I feel that if we want to try for another coach, Hervé Renard wouldn't be a bad option.
Then trying for another coach, for me, is a good one. But then I don't believe in altering team dynamics at a very crucial stage. But maybe just this is the time for us to do it, because we still have about a year. We are not going to do well.
By the series of meetings the NFF have had in the last few days, I think that we are leaning towards discontinuation with Eric Chelle because what I've been coming up to media, it's looking like the NFF are ready to.
And the guy, and I'm
plug on.
he's also braced up for that.
He has had offers from other African characters. You know, said he was trying. I want him to Mali person to return to the country, so he's not short of options as well. He might be the best solution for both parties.
Beyond retaining Eric Chelle, I just feel like NFF, they need to put up a system and a structure of identifying.
You're asking too much from them.
Structure and systems is too much.
You're asking too much from the NFF.
Ooh, that's serious, because there is the call of balancing hungry players with European base.
And then I repeat, you're asking too much from.
Okay.
They only come to force when Canarians are pressed.
The NFF technical director, Eguavoen, was quoted as saying, kind of, is it being critical of Eric Chelle's selection, not including NPFL players, homegrown players in the team that went to AFCON? And looking at that claim and that is what even some European players were struggling for minutes. Paul Onachu, Rafael Oyedika, many more like that. Now imagine he invited these players. What position? What would they actually be doing?
I understand where you're coming from, but then you saying even the European players struggled for minutes is like discrediting the level of professionals you have in the NPFL. And I would like to remind you that the last time the Super Eagles were entered all the way to winning the Nations Cup, it was as a result of the brilliance of a local based player in the person of Sunday Mba. So putting to sword the NPFL stars is something that I would not agree with.
JD, I'm not putting them to the sword. You said Sunday Umba. From that point to this current point, look at the years, look at the quality, look at the development, look at the system and structure. Do we have anybody closer to that?
I understand your sentiments, but I needed to address that first.
Well, that's fair enough.
Coming back to the main topic, I think Augustine Eguavoen went a bit too much. The sense that is the NFF technical director. It was part of the process right from the
beginning. Yes, even when this card said yes.
About the appointment of Eric Chelle, he knew about all the meetings they had with him. And at what point did he read it out to the coach that as you are coming on board, you have to carry along the NPFL players? Did he make it mandatory for the coach? Did they discuss it in the contract that okay, we need you to?
Because that you have.
We need you to carry along the local league guys. And what have you done to as well advertise the local league players? What are the measures that have been put in place to make these players get on the platform, get on the watch stage, to make people know that okay, we have stars that are capable of cutting it in the Super Eagles? So I feel that is sentiments do not really hold
Water, yeah. Those old plans.
because if he really cared for the local players, he would have had it included in the contract.
Like, yes,
So
like a chance.
him coming out now saying that he was disappointed that the coach did not include any players from the local league is a bit too much. And if remind you that he was coach of the Super Eagles to the 2006 Cup of Africa, and see, so he only had one home base player, and that was the reserve goalkeeper. That's Ndele Ayenuba, and back then he was playing for him. And it will be very important to note that Imba were the reigning African champ, and that was why he was able to get him to create him. I think Eguavoen needs to assess. He needs to address the issue locally first before putting blame on Eric Chelle, because I feel, to me, Eric Chelle does not have any blame in this situation.
And one thing I'm going to say is, people say you don't wash your dirty lining outside. You are the technical director, for crying out loud. Why should you bring that kind of talk out? It's supposed to be within the circle.
The NFF, as we know, is a comedy house. It's an organization that has lost credibility over time. We are well aware of the situation surrounding the FIFA lags that have been coming to them. How mismanagement has been the other. We can go. You can consider. Yeah. I just feel,
But this is not to be, because if you look at how other national teams, both in Africa and Europe, the way they handle the whole affairs. Look at Luis Rubiales of Spain, the women. Look at that Kiss Gate scandal. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
Yes, very. Sorry.
An article on it.
Oh, thank you. When some players were calling out for his head that he has to go, there was a time that Spain just, kind of removed him, and that was the end. That was the end. You have to protect that image.
So law and order in the affairs of the NFL.
There is nothing like, and then sarcastically was backing him for a long-term contract. Imagine saying, we are going to send you away, but make I just leave.
And I know that the NFF have already made their decision.
And this is where we miss it. Because no matter how we say some things are actually working well for Morocco and some other African countries, there was a time that I went to African Cup of all African Games. I think I told you about.
Yes.
So I met the coach of Senegal, that was the U17 and also U15, and then we had an aesthetic talk. He told me that he's part of the junior setup, national junior setup, and also he's part of the U20, U23, and also is a kind of a miniature part of the senior team, so that he knows how these players are. He knows, okay, I can say this is the time for this player to move. This is what, that continuity, that kind of stability, that kind of seamless growth.
It's not what we don't have those settings in Nigeria. There's this I think he's late now. I'm not really sure. Coach Dan Ladi, he was the coach of the under-15 side. He's been there for a while. He's the one that has always handled the under-15 side before he's demised. So, but there is the former Super Eagles and defender as well. That's Coach Nduka Ogbade. He under-17 and the under-20 side for a while. Is this the same thing Coach Emmanuel Amunike, as Coach Manu Gaba, Ladon Beto, they have been the ones in charge of the youth side. So it's not as if Nigeria do not have this kind of settings in place, but the continuity is where the problem comes in. When the tournaments concludes, the NFF goes to sleep.
Exactly.
When the NFF concludes, they go to sleep. But this is not how it works. It is a matter of continuity. Look at the Moroccan under-20 national team. They won the under-20 World Cup. It didn't start at the beginning of the tournament. It's something that they had prepared for years before that tournament. And we saw what they did at the competition. They blew everyone apart. And it's not even going to stop there, because they have not stopped doing what they started. So it's just like Nigeria is regressing in the world of football, while other countries that we used to identify as minnows are waking up and catching up with us.
Will NFF resist the urge of a familiar pattern, or will they decide we want to grow some balls and we need to just get it all up, and then let's tell El Chelle is all over, and then we'll move to the next?
Maybe someday when we'll catch up with the president of the NFF, that's Alhaji Guso, we're going to ask him this question.
But we have come to the end of this edition, the El Show, where we have carefully looked at El Chelle's contrast with the Super Eagles. I'm sure that you do have a good one. We hope to see you in the next edition. Bye.